take Steve Harvey as the representative for all things black. Steve Harvey, let's keep this shit funky. Steve Harvey is on his third marriage. His third wife was mistress to his second wife. Yet, black people have anointed this the oracle when it comes to black dating. This nigga wrote a book on dating. You on your third wife, homie? With all respect, why can't we pick a that know what he's talking about?
Think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie. That was disturbing. With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that were that I was finding out about, I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it. He left. He just left, walked out the door. Once he realized that I was going to divorce him, he walked out the door. He had a shoulder bag. He walked out. Went right to New York, to our apartment that we had there, which I never got to see, by the way, but... And then she joined him there. Marjorie joined him there. Never an apology. Steve never said.
Marjorie Harvey's life story is often the topic of conversation, especially when it comes to her relationship with Steve Harvey. Many believe she is the real expert on securing a wealthy and stable future. Marjorie has not only built a life of luxury for herself, but also ensured her children and grandchildren have financial security. People often compare her moves to her daughter Lori Harvey, who is known for her high-profile relationships. Many wonder what lessons Marjorie might have passed down. Steve's ex-wife, Mary Lee, has been outspoken about Marjorie, sharing messy details about how she and Marjorie clashed during Steve's rise to fame. Steve Harvey's journey to success was complicated. His first two wives, Mary Lee and Marcia, were there before his career took off, but things changed once he became wealthy. Meanwhile, Marjorie, who some called Lady Heroine in her younger days, was also determined to live a life of luxury. From a young age, she only dated men who could provide her with the lifestyle she wanted. Marjorie's relationship with drug dealer Jim Townsend was one such example. Jim, who was married at the time, told Marjorie he didn't want more kids. However, Marjorie stopped taking birth control without telling him and became pregnant. During their time together, she became deeply involved in Memphis's high-profile social scene, but eventually dropped out of the University of Memphis due to her tarnished reputation. When Marjorie was pregnant with their second child, Jim was arrested. The federal authorities had strong evidence against him for drug trafficking and even linked Marjorie and Jim's brother to the operation. To protect Marjorie and his brother, Jim took a plea deal, allowing them to move on with their lives. This chapter of Marjorie's life shows her determination to secure the life she desired, even through difficult and controversial circumstances.
They did indict her because, I made a deal with them not to indict. You got to be mindful. At this particular time that I was got busted, if you want to call it getting busted.
Okay.
They showed me, transactions between Marjorie and people that I knew they weren't lying. That people that, she had sold to them, blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, she 8 months pregnant. We got a 5-year-old daughter, so there was no way, whatever I could do to keep her from going to prison or being indicted.
Jim Townsend was eventually sentenced to life in prison, but Marjorie didn't dwell on it for long. About 5 years after his incarceration, she moved on, reportedly dating NBA player Todd Day for a time. He allegedly even helped her purchase a club that once belonged to Jim. However, Marjorie struggled to manage it and eventually had to sell it. Marjorie then married Darnell Woods, one of the infamous Wood brothers known for their involvement in illegal activities. The two welcomed a daughter, Lori, but their marriage was short-lived. When Darnell was indicted and sentenced to 37 months in prison for his role in a drug operation, Marjorie divorced him and started looking for a fresh start. With 2 ex-husbands who were convicted felons, Marjorie's life seemed tumultuous, but she was determined to keep moving forward. Around this time, Steve Harvey was becoming a household name. Although they had met years earlier when Steve was just a struggling comedian, their paths crossed again in the early 2000s. This time, Steve was riding the success of the Kings of Comedy tour and earning substantial income. However, Steve was still married to his second wife, Mary Lee, which made things complicated. Initially, Marjorie reportedly dated Steve's bodyguard, Big Boom, but it didn't last. Marjorie saw Steve as her ticket to stability and wealth. She rekindled Steve's interest in her, and the two began an affair. Even after Mary Lee discovered the relationship, Marjorie remained undeterred. Steve became infatuated with Marjorie and ultimately decided to leave Mary. Mary, realizing she couldn't compete with Steve's obsession, found herself on the losing end of the marriage. Steve filed for divorce, cutting Mary off both emotionally and financially. Marjorie didn't shy away from asserting her position. She would even call Steve's home, knowing Mary would answer, just to make her presence known. Eventually, Marjorie became Steve's wife, solidifying her place in his life and securing the luxurious lifestyle she had always pursued.
I think he did see her as the best image for what he was trying to do, you see. And so, but who knows his mindset, you know, but because like I said, she ain't just that bright now, but she's shrewd.
But she ain't the brightest person in the room.
No, but she's shrewd. I gotta give her that.
Okay.
And
Marjorie Harvey has undoubtedly become a polarizing figure, with opinions about her ranging from admiration for her determination to criticism for her past. One of her bold moves was persuading her children from previous relationships to take Steve Harvey's last name, emphasizing the advantages it could bring to their lives. This strategy likely played into securing better opportunities for her kids and solidifying their new family identity. She also convinced Steve to fight for custody of his youngest son with Mary Lee, which further strained Mary's relationship with her child. To this day, Mary and her son reportedly have a fractured bond. Steve, fully aware of Marjorie's controversial past, worked to help her clean up her image. He used his influence to settle her debts and distance her from her earlier reputation. Despite these efforts, many people still criticize Marjorie, labeling her a calculated opportunist. Comments about her include, "She's not just a gold digger. She's one of the best con artists I've ever seen. She acts brand new, but people need to remember she's from the streets. Now you know why Lori is following in her footsteps. No matter how expensive her clothes are, she can't cover up who she really is." Opinions are divided. Some see Marjorie as a savvy woman who played the cards she was dealt to her advantage, while others believe she's a master manipulator who climbed her way to the top at the expense of others. What do you think? Is Marjorie simply a smart player in the game of life, or is she a con artist who took advantage of every opportunity to secure her current lifestyle?
Steve Harvey as the representative for all things black. Steve Harvey, let's keep this shit funky. Steve Harvey is on his third marriage. His third wife was mistress to his second wife. Yet, black people have anointed this the oracle when it comes to black dating. This nigga wrote a book on dating. You on your third wife, homie. With all respect, why can't we pick a that know what he's talking about?
Think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie. That was disturbing. With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that I was finding out about. I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it. He left. He just left, walked out the door. Once he realized that I was going to divorce him, he walked out the door. He had a shoulder bag. He walked out. Went right to New York, to our apartment that we had there, which I never got to see, by the way, and then she joined him there. Marjorie joined him there. Never an apology. Steve never said that he was sorry.
Marjorie Harvey's life story has been the subject of much speculation and controversy. Known for her ambition and ability to secure a luxurious lifestyle, her past has sparked countless rumors and debates. Here's a simpler take on the narrative. From a young age, Marjorie had her eyes on a life of luxury. She surrounded herself with men who could provide the upscale lifestyle she desired, including big-time figures like Jim Townsend, a prominent substance dealer. Despite knowing Jim was married and didn't want more children, Marjorie reportedly stopped taking birth control without telling him, eventually becoming pregnant. During their relationship, Marjorie became entangled in the Memphis drug scene, earning the nickname Lady Heroin. Her reputation eventually forced her to drop out of the University of Memphis. When Jim faced federal charges due to solid evidence of his drug activities, including links to Marjorie and his brother, he took a plea deal to protect them both. Despite these challenges, Marjorie moved on, using her resilience and resourcefulness to navigate her way through life. Her actions may be controversial, but they paint a picture of a woman determined to rise above her circumstances. Her story continues to generate conversation, with people debating whether she is a savvy survivor or someone who prioritizes wealth and status at all costs. What do you think?
I hate her because, I made a deal with him. Not that you gotta be mindful. At this particular time that I was got busted, if you want to call it getting busted.
Okay.
They showed me, transactions between Marjorie and people that I knew they weren't lying. That people that, she had sold to them, blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, she 8 months pregnant. We got a 5-year-old daughter, so there was no way, whatever I could do to keep her from going to prison or being indicted. And see, I know how.
After Jim was sentenced to life in prison, Marjorie moved on with her life, determined to maintain her luxurious lifestyle. 5 years later, she reportedly dated NBA player Todd Day, who helped her purchase a club previously owned by Jim. However, managing the club didn't work out, and Marjorie eventually sold it. Marjorie didn't stay single for long, marrying Darnell Woods, one of the infamous Wood brothers. Together, they welcomed a daughter, but their family life was soon disrupted. The authorities uncovered evidence of the Woods family's involvement in substance operations, leading to Darnell's conviction and a 37-month prison sentence. Marjorie, not one to wait around for a convicted husband, divorced Darnell and moved on yet again. By the early 2000s, Steve Harvey was at the peak of his career, earning big money from his success with the Kings of Comedy. When Marjorie and Steve reconnected, he was still married to his second wife, Mary Lee. Allegedly, Marjorie initially dated Steve's bodyguard, Big Boone, before shifting her focus to Steve. Despite the challenges, Marjorie rekindled Steve's past crush on her, and he became deeply infatuated. While Marjorie played the mistress, Steve started pulling away from Mary, eventually cutting her off completely and initiating a divorce. Marjorie's boldness reportedly knew no bounds, as she would allegedly call Steve's home just to let Mary know she was with him. Over time, Steve and Marjorie became a couple, solidifying their bond despite the controversies surrounding their union. Their story remains a mix of ambition, drama, and resilience, sparking endless conversations about Marjorie's determination to secure the life she wanted.
For all things black. Steve Harvey, let's keep this shit funky. Steve Harvey is on his 3rd marriage. His 3rd wife was mistress to his 2nd wife. Yet, black people have anointed this the oracle when it comes to black dating. This nigga wrote a book on dating. You on your third wife, homie? With all respect, why can't we pick a that know what he's talking about?
Think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie. That was disturbing. With all the emails and the text messages and the different things that were that I was finding out about, I thought the least that he could do, make me whole at the end of it. He left. He just left, walked out the door. Once he realized that I was going to divorce him, he walked out the door. He had a shoulder bag. He walked out. Went right to New York, to our apartment that we had there, which I never got to see, by the way, but... And then she joined him there. Marjorie joined him there. Never an apology.
Marjorie reportedly convinced Steve to have all of her children, even those who were no longer minors, adopt his last name, believing it would provide them with better opportunities. She also persuaded him to gain custody of his youngest son with his ex-wife, Mary, a move that has left Mary struggling to rebuild a solid relationship with her son. Steve, well aware of Marjorie's controversial past, worked to help her clean up her image, despite being a high-profile public figure. He reportedly took steps to resolve financial and social issues tied to her earlier life in Memphis. Yet, despite these efforts, Marjorie remains a polarizing figure, often criticized in public discourse. Many commentators have strong opinions about her, describing her as a skilled strategist or even a master con. Some suggest she transformed her life by leveraging her relationships, while others argue she continues to hide her true past behind a polished exterior. Critics also compare her bold, unapologetic approach to life with her daughter Lori's high-profile dating habits, suggesting a familial pattern of ambition and calculated moves. What's your perspective? Is Marjorie's story one of resilience and strategy, or does it reveal a deeper controversy? It seems you're aiming to simplify or refine this narrative. Here's a clearer and more concise rewrite: who really needs Steve Harvey's dating advice when the real finesse queen is Mrs. Marjorie Harvey? She secured Steve, built a future of wealth for herself and her family, and ensured her children and grandchildren are set for life. Watching Lori Harvey's bold dating moves, many have wondered what lessons her mom, Marjorie, has passed down. For the full story, though, Steve's ex-wife, Mary, Lee might have the answers. She's been vocal about the drama when Marjorie entered the picture from the start. Marjorie knew what she wanted and made strategic moves to secure it. Her relationship with Steve, showered in luxury and gifts, shows they were a match for each other. Steve, meanwhile, treated his earlier marriages to Mary Lee and his first wife, Marcia, as placeholders until his career and wealth reached their peak. Let me know if you want further edits or a different tone.